Good Wednesday afternoon. It's a beautiful spring day. The birds are chirping. It's a good time for a bike ride. So if you go for a bike ride, make sure you have the proper safety equipment. I go for one later. Okay, so today is the 9th of April, 2014. And just like with the exponential functions, with our quadratic functions, we have to be able to label certain parts about them. And we're going to have a quiz on this next week. So I've listed several things we need to be able to determine when we're looking at a parabola. Okay, the first thing, and one of the easier things, is the y-intercept. So if we go over here, it intersects the y at the 8. So then we'll just say, oops, this is all off. It intersects at 0, 8. Okay, that's where it's crossing the x-axis here. Okay, the vertex is the highest or lowest point. So here we can see that it's at 1, 9. So for our vertex, we see at 1, 9. It has a top, so we say that's the maximum. So the maximum here, this is so off, sorry guys. The maximum here is going to be at the 9. Technical difficulties here. I don't know why that's so off. Let's try again. So there's the cursor, but then the point's way over there. So here's the maximum, and it is at the 9. All right, so our line of symmetry is going to be what cuts this right down the middle. So we'll just take this line and drag it straight down, and we can see that it goes through at the 1 on the x. So far off. So that's going to have a vertical equation of x equals 1. So my line of symmetry here is going to be x equals 1. Okay. And we talked in class about the zeros today. The zeros are where it crosses the x-axis at. Okay, so with a parabola, generally there's 2 sets of zeros, or just one if the bottom hits at one time. So we can see that it crosses at the -2 and then the +4 on the x-axis. So we say our zeros are going to be -2 and 4. Okay, you can also write those as a coordinate. You could write them as -2, 0, because the y should be 0, and 4, 0. Okay, now this is where we have a hard time, and that's the domain and range. Okay, the domain is going to be quite similar to our exponential functions. And if you look at the domain is the x values, right? So the direction of the x goes to the left and to the right. And so you can see that the parabola is going to get wider as it goes to the left, and it's going to get wider as it goes to the right for infinity. So when we're trying to do our domain here, we can say all real numbers. But we can also say, and generally you use infinity, so it's gonna, so like before we could say, you know, all real numbers, but most times you're gonna see it say negative, gosh, that's terrible, negative infinity to positive infinity, okay? This would be the negative to infinity, and this would be the positive to infinity. So generally you can write it as like a coordinate. Oh my gosh, this is really messing me up, and I can't seem to fix it. All right, so let's try this again. There you go. Negative infinity, comma, positive infinity. And like I said, this is the same thing as saying all real numbers, but with quadratics you tend to see the infinity sign. All right, now we're going to get to the range. The range is a little bit different as to how we describe it, because It doesn't go to all real numbers, okay? The range is the y, and it stops here at the 9. And then it goes on forever down, okay? So when we do the range, we say it is, oh gosh, no. Try again, round 2. Okay, so for the range, we know it goes to negative infinity, because it's going down forever, but then it stops at the 25. Not 25, what am I thinking? That's a 9, not a 25. Jennifer Thompson. All right, so we have negative infinity and 9. Okay, so if we go back up here, 9 is the top. The graph doesn't go above the 9 on the, see, it's lined up here. Why is it not working down there? 9 here, and then it goes down forever. And this is negative, so this is negative infinity down here. So for our range, we go, it's negative infinity and 9. Let me write it as a coordinate like that, okay? The domain is just like with the exponential functions, it's going to almost always be real numbers. It will always be real numbers in Algebra 1 because we're not going to see any that goes this way. We're only going to see ones that are up and down. But we're going to get into conceptual, that didn't sound right, sorry. Conceptual situations tomorrow night. And I'll show you what that is. It's not what it seems. All right, so that's it. So you have to be able to do the y-intercept, the vertex, the max, the min, the line of symmetry, the zeros, the domain, and the range. And I would like for you to try this practice problem real quick, and then we'll go over it in class tomorrow. Have a great night.